in just a couple of moments after everyone has had a chance to join us here. So welcome back to Sanctuary from Your Sofa, live from Town Barton Farm in Devon. We hope you've been enjoying this afternoon's event so far. Joining us again now are Paul and Lil, who are going to be introducing us to some amazing animals here at the farm who have some really incredible untold stories. Towards the end, we'll be having another Q&A session, so please keep your questions coming in and we'll try and answer as many as we can. But without further ado, over to Paul and Lil.
Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, Lil, who have we have here? Who have we got?
Okay, so in this group there are 13 animals. 2 of them are donkeys, and they're large donkeys, so they didn't really settle in our donkey group, so they came to live with the mules. It suits them a lot better because the mules have obviously got more space around them. The other 11 animals in this group they're all mules. So over here we've got Lugs. So Lugs is our biggest mule at Town Barton Farm. Should come and say hello. She's very friendly. She had a bit of a sad story when she came in. She was found in Ireland and was rescued by the donkey sanctuary. Her mum had been injured, and Lugs was only about just over 6 months old, and was just left with her not knowing what to do. And luckily somebody obviously spotted her and alerted the donkey sanctuary. Sadly we were unable to save her mother, so Lugs came in very, very young, and she developed a strong bond with people actually, because obviously she was left on her own and didn't know what to do.
No, that's right. We can't really overemphasize enough. We heard from David, which was lovely earlier on, about the special bonds, and if anyone can imagine what Lugs would have gone through with just standing there with her mum, obviously in distress, 6 months old, if you can only imagine what that would be like for them. And then shortly, lucky the donkey sanctuary were there to save and rescue and bring her in, and then shortly after that we were lucky enough to have Lugs come to us. I can fondly remember the day when she arrived, and I said earlier on, what's it like when you arrive here? It can only be in amazement how lovely it was to see her come off the lorry and just run free down the track to her paddock, which was, like I say, it just stays with me how special that is. And if you can just see the delight of seeing almost Lugs in the sunshine today is beautiful, and that just the reward for what the donkey sanctuary does, and this is just, as I say, this is just one animal, one story, and we have many more, and again, it's so rewarding for us to be able to do our bit. Thanks to everybody watching today. What else have we got, Leo? Who else are we looking at?
Okay, so over here we've got Mia Battle. She's just having a little wander. She's best friends with Professor X, who's just to the left of if the camera pans round, and they're best friends, just like we were saying earlier. The mules have bonded friendships just like the donkeys do, and these two are absolute best buddies. Whenever they're handled by the grooms that specifically work with those two, and everything that's done with them, we keep both the animals together because they're a lot more relaxed if they're with their own friends. So that's a really important thing when we're doing any routine treatment, including grooming.
What about Battlemount? No, I think people would like to know a bit about.
Yeah, so Battlemount Charlie is this big white mule. I started working with her actually about 6 months ago, and it wasn't deliberate really. It's a bit like what David said earlier on, where Jacko chose him, and Battlemount Charlie actually, she chose me. I was just working on the yard like we normally do, mucking out and sweeping up and stuff, and I noticed that she kept coming quite close to me all the time. Not too near, because she liked to keep her distance, but I knew she was always watching me, and she deliberately was following me around. So I started sort of approaching her, and I was able to touch her neck and everything, and I don't know, we just got this thing between us that's just so special. And then I started working, putting her head collar and stuff onto her, but this took quite a few months, and she's very, very good. I can walk up to her, stroke her neck, and put her head collar on quite easily now. And it's something a lot of people take it for granted, where the donkeys, you can do a lot of things quite easily with them, but the mules just take so much more time. So in the last month, I've actually started picking up Battlemount Charlie's feet. The first thing I taught her was that actually get used to having her whole body touched with my hands and under her tummy, and then making sure she was stood still and relaxed, and then I was able to stroke down her legs to her hooves, and I wanted her to stand still and not pick them up initially, so that she was used to having all around her legs touched. And then the next thing that I taught her was to actually lift them up. Now the most important thing when you're working with picking up mules' feet is that you don't take for granted that just because you can pick one up, that you can pick all of them up. You have to treat every single leg as a new leg, like you're starting from scratch all over again. Battlemount Charlie just has this bond with me where she just knows what I'm going to ask her, and she's very, very quick at learning. But we've got a long way to go, so I haven't used a hoof pick on her yet. And obviously we like to pick out their feet down the sides of the frog, and that can be a completely new sensation to the animals, especially if they haven't been used to that, and it can take a long time to get them used to it. And then hopefully moving forward I'll be able to get her used to all the farrier tools and other people coming in and helping me, and then eventually she'll meet Stephen, our farrier, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, one day be able to get her trimmed by the farrier, which is what I'm aiming for.
So we can hear some braying off in the distance, and I think that's in response to some braying that's been coming from this group here. So over in the corner, as Paul mentioned at the beginning, we do actually have a couple of donkeys in this group.
Yeah, let's go down and see what we find.
So we'll wander down and say a quick hello to those two.
Yeah, so we're going down to find Henry and Coco.
So as we mentioned, donkeys and mules often can live quite happily together in a single group. So amongst this group of mules and hinnies, we also have two donkeys. It looks like they're going to come over and say a little hello.
So here we have, so Henry on my left, Coco on my right. Two absolutely adorable donkeys who actually think they're mules. They just love to be in the mule group, and they just enjoy, obviously, the mule's company because they're larger than a normal sized donkey, and so they fit very well, and they're just a delight to have in. And it sort of tells us that Henry loves the camera, and he's going to come up and try and probably eat the camera. But it's a delight to know that when they're actually telling us where they prefer to live, that we can actually do that. We can actually provide the space that they need, and then their needs are fully met, rather than us trying to fit them in. They fit themselves in. So it's these two are actually real proof of all the dedication from the team, trying to find the right spot for them, and but they're just a sheer delight, like they all are.
So who else have we got here over to the right hand side?
I think Lila's she's just walking around there.
Okay, so this is Millie. Millie's been here for a few years now. She actually came in with a little donkey who was very, very elderly, and we unfortunately have lost him now. And Millie didn't really know whether she wanted to live with donkeys or mules. So she came to meet Henry and Coco, and she actually does quite like them. She follows them everywhere they go. If they disappear, she wants to go with them. And not only that, Millie does now have a mule friend who's called Maisie. I can't actually see him, he must be up the back eating, but Maisie really likes Millie, so they're sort of, sometimes they're a trio and sometimes there's 4 of them, and sometimes they're both in pairs, which is really nice. Okay, so over here we've got Lily. Lily's quite nervous, and most of the work she has done with her is in our handling area. She does like to see what's going on, but she doesn't like to come over too much. She's been specially trained in our padded stocks, so all of her treatment that she has from the vet and for sedations, etc., is all done in there, and she absolutely loves going in there because she knows she goes in there and has her treats. So we give them donkey nuts or bread or ginger biscuits, and we try to give them as much positive rewards as we can. And so she knows when she goes in there, that's what she has. And after she's had her injections, we'll make sure we run her through there again a couple of times afterwards, so it's not been a bad experience having an injection. It's a bit like everyone having their COVID jabs. We know we've got to have them, but we're never probably going to like having them done. But when we can give them treats, it makes it so much nicer for them.
Yeah, just adding from that, and I think all the animals, but especially the mules, when they arrive with us, they all arrive with some form of possible behaviour training required, and whether that might just be a little bit of time spent with them, and it might be just a little bit more time and further training required. It's just the whole range of what they need we can provide. So there's no set hard fast rule of but as we've heard today in our hearing, that they've all got different needs, and I think we're all learning all the time to find out what we can do to reach those needs and how we can help them. And I think each one we help, we find out how we can help the next one, because we're learning all the time.
So we will be having another Q&A session in just a few minutes' time, so if anyone's got any questions, please do keep them coming in, and we'll answer as many as we can. But if we just pan off to the right-hand side, we can see a sort of patch of bare earth. What's that for, Paul?
So if anybody's wandering around the fields and all of a sudden perhaps Coco will come and demonstrate, find a bare patch in the middle of the field. And what's this all about? No, we haven't filled in a swimming pool or anything like that. They create this because as soon as you do all the lovely grooming, we do whatever tasks we've done with them. Come on in, Henry. They come out and they're nice to have a nice roll. And so instead of sharing the field out where they can all have a roll, there's enough room, they can all roll in a different place. Anybody that with the equines, if one's rolled here, as you can see, they all come and roll, which is a great space for them. It's a delight for them, because if Henry happened to have a roll now, and I'm sure Coco would follow him straight off, and he'd wait for Henry to roll so he could move out the way, and then he could come and roll in the same place. So instead of rolling in different places, they all love to come out, but mainly it's after we just groom them. That's when they like to come and I think try and get themselves dirty again. But they enjoy it, so you know it's great fun. Yeah, good boy.
So, just quickly, Paul, how does the generosity of our supporters make a difference here at Town Farm? What does it allow us to do that we otherwise wouldn't be able to?
That's just amazing. Everything we do is from everybody watching, so thank you very much. It just allows us to be here alone. We work for the Donkey Sanctuary, the costs are met there, but actually for the animals, everything they need has got to be bought from somewhere and paid for, so just thank you very much. Every little donation, every kind thought makes a difference, and it makes a difference for Coco. It makes a difference from what he can have and what we can do and how we can enrich his life and what else can we do, from just us being here to all the feeds and the bedding's a big cost, whether that be shavings or straw. It needs to be purchased, and you know, this is just one farm of many, as we heard earlier on, so that's a big cost for the Donkey Sanctuary, but everything's appreciated so much, from whether that's a small donation up to a large donation so just literally everything we do is met by you guys watching, so thank you very much. Much appreciated.
So we've got lots of questions coming in now, so we're going to finish off the afternoon with a Q&A session with Paul and perhaps Lil.
We'll bring in David as well. Come in, David. Oh dear. Yeah, only delighted to answer questions. It's lovely if people are out there and joining in, and if there's any questions we can help with. If not today, another day, but we'll try our best.
So Marky asks, how many donkeys go together in a group typically?
I would say around 50 would be an average. Our largest group is 63, and we've got sort of 35, so on an average of 50. And I think across the farms, some farms have larger groups, and then some farms have smaller groups, specific groups, whether that be any particular feeding group or boys group or the girls group, or so different kinds of groups, but generally on a whole I would say around 50 donkeys are quite happy in a group.
So Stuart would like to know, what do donkeys do for fun?
Well, we just mentioned some of the rolling they do on a nice day like today. They did come out earlier on and have a really good roll, but we did take a brush out then just to make sure they were brushed off. So they love to roll, and the enrichment in the field, they love to run around, they'll have a skip. We put different things out then for them to play with. We can put out some play toys and stuff like logs, even logs in the field, a bit of brush that they like to carry around. We've got some welly boots, so any welly boots that fail, the staff have made him make a hole in or worn out, we can actually then, well, we've got another use for them, we can actually give them for the donkeys. And I think we have had 1 or 2 photographs published with lovely photographs with even 4 or 5 donkeys holding on to one Wellington boot, the proof that they just love carrying it around. And once one's got hold of it, they'll carry that around for some time until they all let go. So lots of little things like that they play with and enrich their time.
So KL would like to know, how many hinnies do we have here on the farm compared to the amount of mules?
I think at the moment, if we say we've just, I believe it's 198 mules, if I can get that right. I think we've got 11 hinnies, so it's like we're something on that ratio at the moment.
So we tend to have more mules than
yes,
hinnies,
predominantly mules. Hinnies, yeah, only a small amount. So like you say, it was roughly 1 in 10 would be hinnies.
So Victoria would like to know, do mules enjoy different treats from donkeys, or do they all like the same?
I think, as we can say, like Coco loves a cuddle. I think they all love a cuddle and time. But I think time is the big difference with the mules, as in the donkeys, they'll all come up for a cuddle and probably wander off. The mules will probably come up and they'll probably stay with you because you tend to get in their space. And they just take that, I would say they take longer to to be in your space, and they're happy to be in your space, and therefore we don't rush to get out of their space, whereas the donkeys will probably just walk off and find somebody else, but the mules will wait for us to finish that sort of that bonding session, as it were.
The Crystal Bar asks, what's the oldest donkey or mule that we have here on the farm?
So we're on the oldest donkey. Sorry, what was the question again?
Is that the oldest donkey or mule that we have living on the farm here?
I think it was 46, I think, wasn't it? I think we said earlier on, that's where we said.
46, and that's quite old for a donkey, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier on, that the age, the donkeys can live up to 50 and beyond, and I think the mules can live up to 30 and up to 40, and then as we were saying earlier on, the horses can live up to 30, so it's sort of in that ratio.
So Catherine asks, do the donkeys and mules that live here on the farm tend to find new homes?
As many as we can, as many as you can. So if you're watching out there, please get in touch. If you've got a small paddock, you've got a hard standing area and a covered space, then we're here, they're here to find a home. So yes, we've rehomed donkeys and mules from here, and all the other farms. So the door's always open. We're always here. Pick up the phone, drop us an email, and we'll try and find one of the donkeys or mules for you.
So why is rehoming such an important part of what we do?
As we said earlier on, we've got 274 animals here, and it's all a cost to look after. And on all the farms, we could be looking at around 2,500 animals we look after. And if we add that up all over the year and the cost, and rehoming is such a special part to alleviate some of the animals. It can give them a new fresh start, a new home, and it alleviates some of the costs from the donkey sanctuary. And what that also does is enable us to have more space to take in more animals that need rescuing. So there is a major part of us being able to rescue, but also when we get full up, the rehoming enables us to take in even more animals.
So Victoria would like to know, how do we keep track of where all the animals are on the farm?
We keep a track. We've got, as you can see, they've all got the collars on, we spoke earlier on. So the boys red, girls yellow. They've all got the keeper tags on the collars. As we can see now, we're just filming Henry there. Henry's got these black tags, so all the black tags. So they've all got a computer chip. They've all got a microchip. They've all got a microchip in, so we know who they are and where they are, and all the tasks they have done, whether that's having their feet trimmed, whether that's having a dental, having the teeth rasps, or whether that's having a treatment. It might be a deworm, or it might be anything, extra feed or anything like that. We keep a track. They've all got their name and a number, and we know day to day where they all are and what they need doing. And what they need doing next.
Obviously, we've heard some donkeys braying away on the farm today. We haven't necessarily heard any mules making any noise. Do mules make noise?
Well, mules make fantastic noises. It's extraordinary that we haven't heard any. Whereas a donkey's bray is quite sort of there, black and white. But a mule is definitely not. It is extraordinary to think, very human-like sometimes. It's very like someone just shouting across the field. It would be fantastic if one would give us an example, but very extraordinary noises, and sometimes unreal to think, who was that? So yeah, very indifferent noises. And sometimes very loud, so yeah, absolutely. But we might get one, but they're all, I think, as we've been looking around, because they're not making any noise, they're all happy grazing, aren't they? They're actually just really enjoying the afternoon, and which I hope everyone is watching in, hoping everyone's enjoying, just like they are.
And just finally, Donna has asked, how often do the donkeys and mules have to have their feet trimmed?
Yeah, so we're on an 8-week cycle. So every 8 weeks, or before, if they need any special care. Occasionally, the donkey's hooves might get thin soles, so they might get sore. So we do sometimes fit a plastic shoe and not a conventional shoe for safety, and that would be on the fronts to support their so either thin soles or sore feet, so they can have some padding, and enables them then to get around. So 8 weeks or sooner if they need any regular trims.
Great. So thanks so much for all of your questions. But unfortunately, we have come to the end of today's Sanctuary from Your Sofa event. We really hope you've enjoyed joining us behind the scenes here at Town Barton Farm. And obviously a huge thank you to Paul and the team and everyone who's made today happen. If you'd like to make a donation and play a part in supporting the work we do both here in the UK and across the world, please head to bray.news/donate or click on the link below this video. Anything you can give would mean a huge amount. For those of you who'd like to come along and visit the herd, the Donkey Sanctuary Sidmouth is open to visitors daily with free entry and parking. Our regional sanctuaries across the UK are also open at selected visiting times. Full details can be found at bray.news/visit. Sanctuary from Your Sofa will be back later this year with an exciting festive special. But for now, thank you for joining us here at Town Barton Farm and have a great evening.